Comrades, welcome back from the Labor Day celebrations. Today, the country has woken up to the news of the murder of the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, the retired Colonel Charlse Okello Engola, by his bodyguard, a police officer. Now, this is the same gentleman who said that the people that shot Ugandans were from West Africa. I think this speaks a lot about his attitude towards ordinary citizens, including the police officers. And him being the Minister of Labor is supposed to be responsible for the plight of those under him, like the police. So looking at the situation, the horrible living conditions of police officers, I am sure could have been one of the motives behind the act that we have seen. Let us remember that yesterday was Labor Day, a day that is supposed to celebrate our workers and also to ensure that they work in dignified conditions. But far from that, the speeches that were given both by the Minister of Labor, the boss of Mr. Charlse, and even the President had nothing to do with workers. It was just ranting against workers, insinuating that it is the workers that are corrupt, that frustrate the efforts of investors, and that therefore they must be dealt with. Nobody talked about the plight of workers and how they need to be, remunerated and motivated to serve their country. The people that are carrying this country are the workers. It is their sweat and labor that has brought about the changes that we see. The Minister of Labor decried the unethical behavior of workers, citing corruption. But she did not tell us the root cause of the unethical behavior. What forces workers to take bribes? And besides, she did not talk about NSSF. It's not the workers that are involved in the NSSF scandal. It is her and her bosses. So to turn around and blame workers for being corrupt, while actually corruption is manufactured in State House, is really absurd and an abuse to the intelligence of Ugandans. The president also talked about his new, approach to dealing with corruption. He's going to set up a hotline in State House where the investors can make direct calls in case they are frustrated by some unscrupulous workers who demand for bribes and so on. But we know that State House is the clearing agency that gives out land without following any laid down procedures. All the scandals that have really rocked the country have originated from State House. And secondly, yesterday was the day of workers, not the day of investors. So where is the hotline that the workers can use, that they can call to have their concerns addressed? Because yes, it's good that you have the hotline where investors will call, but yesterday was workers. So where will the workers run to when they have issues. The only hotline that there is for workers seems to be 999, whereby when they raise their concerns, policemen appear from nowhere, in a flash, to cane them and tear gas them. We have seen this with the medical interns at Makerere Medical School. We saw an Agoa girls, because this has not begun today, it has not started today. In 2002, we saw the Agoa girls who were working in slave-like conditions, being starved and locked up, in their hostels, not allowed to venture out of the premises of the TriStar company, tear gassed and beaten because they had complained that the investor was starving them. So this points to the fact that the government has absolutely no interest in the concerns of the workers. And it is surprising because it is the same government that bills itself as being revolutionary and leftist. It is a leftist organization, a leftist regime with an entrepreneurs league as a special interest group. I think that only has happened in Uganda. Now, the workers work under very, very hostile conditions, and none of their issues were raised. For example, one of the sticking issues for the workers is the minimum wage. Now, every day we are told that the economy has grown exponentially, I think 1,000-fold. But the minimum wage is stuck at the same point it was in 1984. So if the workers have produced the wealth, why don't they also benefit from the fruits of their labor? They have been relegated to the same situation like a pot. The pot cooks, but it never eats. And that is the sad story of the Ugandan workers. Nobody talked about the working conditions. Nobody talked about workers' rights. Nobody talked about, indeed, the minimum wage. And while they were celebrating Labor Day, the senior in-house officers in our hospitals were threatening to lay down their tools because of unpaid arrears. Now, these are the medical doctors that are preparing for, to study for specialist courses. Remember that we have the interns who have been asking, begging to be deployed so that they can serve Ugandans. Therefore, this government does not care at all about the plight of workers. And remember, actually, the president was spot on when he was opening parliament, this 11th parliament. He said that the children of the poor would not get jobs in his government. Now, who are the poor? So those workers, the workers down there, because they are not known in the system. The system serves the rich, and not the rich that have earned their wealth through their own sweat, but a crony class that has been created, a dole, the sheep kind of middle class that has been created through patronage. So we have a small clique of people locked up in the ark of privilege and power, enjoying the wealth of the country and stealing the sweat of the workers And then you have the rest of all of us who are being swept away by the floods of poverty and want. When they fall sick, they go out. When we fall sick, we rot in public hospitals. And that's why they don't care about motivating the health workers, motivating teachers, and every other public worker. They don't motivate even those that are supposed to guard them, the policemen. And that's why some of the policemen are turning their guns on their bosses. If you want to understand what is happening, you read the poem of Building the Nation, Nation Building, where the driver was there, yawning because of hunger, as his boss was belching because of overeating. And that is the sad situation we are in. Let us not lament, just like the despot laments about corruption. We should not lament about being, exploited. We must kick them out, and we have the power to do that. If every worker laid down their tools and brought this country to a shutdown, then the workers would be listened to. But unfortunately, they have not yet realized the strength of unity, the strength of acting in concert. The health workers think that the concerns of teachers are not theirs. The teachers don't think that the garbage collectors have anything in common with them. The garbage collectors don't think that the matters of policemen concern them. But you are all workers being exploited by the same people. Unite and rise up against the exploiter, the parasite that is sipping your sweat. Thank you very much.